All right, yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming. This is Replacing Users with People. And I mentioned this a few other times, but there are NFC chips around the room, as well as over on the front table that link to our website and Discord, as well as a QR code for the website and some business cards. So feel free to take those and scan those and whatever.
All right, let's get started today. Is this working? I think so. Let's go over our agenda for today. We're going to introduce ourselves, where we work. Then we're going to ask the big question. It's probably what you're here for. What's a user? And then we're going to talk about our philosophy for dealing with this, the scientific method of UX, as we call it. And then we're going to talk about how we implement that philosophy and how you can take this home tonight with you. So, hey, I'm Jaiden. I am the co-founder and COO of Fyra Labs. I am a self-proclaimed operations wizard, and I am an enjoyer of spreadsheets. If you know me, I'm a meticulous planner, and I have spent like 3 days obsessing over this presentation. So hopefully it's good. I'm going to pass you the mic.
Hello, I am Owen. I am the client relations specialist, among other things, and I am a hardware repair extraordinaire and hardcore enterprise IT enthusiast, and I own far too many computers and phones and tablets and everything. Here are all my computers, and I might add that this is 5 months old, so I have about 20 more.
We work for Fyra Labs. We make technology for a better future, so I'm going to show off some of this here. On the left, we have TauOS. This is our helpful and friendly operating system. We've been working on this for about 2 years now. We're really excited to get it out at the end of this summer. Up next, if you ever built a package for Linux, you probably know it's not particularly fast or easy. So we decided to build Onda. It's a meta build system. All you need is your regular package files and a single configuration file, and you'll have your package nice and fast. It's written in Rust. It runs anywhere. It's great. Then we have Terra, our community repository for Fedora. So if you ever used Fedora, you probably know it's missing a lot of stuff out of the box. So we provided Terra. It has a bunch of nightly packages and builds pretty quick for anyone planning to try to get into Fedora proper even. And we have libhelium, our elegant GDK framework. So that's what this is all designed in, and that's what we designed in for most of this stuff we're going to show off in this talk. We love open source. Everything we do is open. If you look at one of our 4 GitHub repository or GitHub organizations, you'll see everything there is open. We love giving back to the upstream projects like Fedora and GDK. We've probably already mentioned them. So we contribute back to those with our work. And we love open source so much that we use it in consulting. So I'm going to give Owen the mic, and he's going to talk about free and open source software in consulting.
Thank you, yeah. So we have our own consulting firm, adequately named Fyra Consulting. And there we use as much open source tools and software as we can to create the best final products for different clients. And we strongly encourage making open source products as well, so that people can go in like 1 year or 10 years down the line and just change whatever they want and even hire other consulting firms.
OK, next slide there.
Here is a map of where all of our people are. So as you can see, we have a few people in the States, as well as one in Brazil, and then a few people from European and Asian countries.
Our mailbox is in Los Angeles, but we like to say our soul is worldwide, and we are proud of that. So now we're going to ask the big question, what is a user? And we've come up with 3 simple phrases that will kind of define what it is for most people. Users are human beings. They are using the thing you created, pretty obviously there, and they aren't you. So
yeah, so very important, you guys. Users are not you, OK? Many developers program something and they're like, oh, this is easy. I know how this works. This will be a no-brainer, you know? And then they have to make YouTube videos and websites on how to use it and a bunch of manuals. You don't want any of that stuff, especially for consumer projects and products. So when you're making a product for consumers, say, for example, like a grocery listing app, you want to keep in mind that everyone is going to use it from a wide variety of different diversity and backgrounds and intelligence level and just experience with grocery listing apps. So you want to make it clean and simple and elegant and as easy to use as you can for as many people as you can.
Oh, wait, that is really loud. I am sorry. So we have a philosophy that we call the scientific method of UX, and it's 4 steps. So we're going to start with the first one here, building a user profile. So a lot of organizations do build user profiles. And here's an example of one from another organization. So let's go around the room. Does anybody here have 2 girls at home, ages 7 and 9? Anybody? Does anybody only get their information from blogs, Facebook, and TV? No? So this and a lot of other user profiles in the industry are pretty specific. And that's a problem because you're trying to make your software work for as many people as possible. So what we do that's a little bit different is we make a more easily generalizable user profile. So this is Diana. She uses she, her, and expresses femme. She is bilingual. She speaks English and Spanish. She works as a public school lunch lady. She spends lots of time with her family and likes sports. So does anyone here spend time with their family? See, already we got more people. Does anyone here like sports? Once again, more people. So what we're doing is we're making a more generalized profile when we design to hopefully be able to cover more people because more people can relate to it. So to really nail in this point, we're going to make a user profile. So we're going to make one for Owen here. This is Owen. He uses he and pronouns. He loves to talk. He loves tech. He works enterprise IT. He's passionate about what he does, and he loves the outdoors. So is anyone here passionate about what they do?
Me.
Yeah, there we go. Anyone here love the outdoors? There we go. More generalized. So when we're building software, we want to think about traits that are generalized to as many people as possible so we can cover as many people as possible. So now step 2, we're going to design around one of these user profiles. So this is our music app, Victrola. This is the first iteration of it. You can see it's kind of bland. So second iteration, we got some feedback from real people. We improved the spacing and made the text a little bit larger. Third one, first real code, and we cleaned it up a little bit, not really too much. Fourth one, we got more feedback. Everyone said there was too much text. So we added this pane.
People hate reading.
People hate reading? So we added this pane with the album art, and we think it looks really good. You think it looks better?
Yes, I do.
So
looks a lot better.
Another thing, and now we have the final product. I think some people here might recognize that album. We had more minor tweaks and a lot more guidelines following and a lot more feedback. Feedback's pretty important. So step 3, this is the hardest part for a lot of people, talking to developers. Probably pretty difficult. Anyone had some struggles with talking to developers? You have? Funny story?
Product owner, so absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel your pain. I lead projects too. So we have tried our best to make it easy. Send your design over and ask them if they can do it first. It's a good first step just to find out if it's possible. And then meet with them regularly to make sure it's on track. You want to speak?
Yeah, so make sure that there are not too many cooks in the kitchen, because if you have 100 developers, 50 UI UX designers, they won't all mingle correctly, you know? And that's fine for very large organizations who really know what they're doing, I guess. But for smaller startups like this, and probably most of you, you want to keep your team small and easy to work with and full with people that are able to talk to each other and be friendly with each other and can just work well and all provide something new to the table.
So step 4 now, this is very important as well. Test it. So this is really fun too. Get some friends together. Make sure it's a wide variety of people with a wide variety of backgrounds. Keep in mind that users love free food. Slice of pizza like they just did out there is a great idea. Criticism is super useful, no matter how small it is. Like, hey, this text looks a little funny. That's super helpful because it can help us fix that later. And make sure they have many levels of experience as well. You want to talk on that, Chris?
Yeah, so I manage the alpha testing program of what Jaiden mentioned, TauOS. Yeah, so when finding users or user testers for that, you want to find a very large variety. So using this example, if you're making a new operating system, you want people who are familiar with lots of different operating systems, who love Linux and Windows, all that. You want people who have no experience with it and just, don't even own a computer. And then you also want people from ages like 10 to 70, because for all you know, like 50% of your user base could be 10-year-olds in a school. So you want to really cover as much ground as you possibly can when getting testers. And many organizations kind of don't do that as well as they should. Just in general, they only get a specific type of person to test something, and then they're like, oh, it's great, let's send it out.
Do you have any examples of this? I think we had one.
Cars.
Cars?
Seatbelts, yeah. They just test on like really tall men, and then other people go into the car and they're like, oh, I don't fit in the seat.
There
Seen
we go.
that before.
So that really nails in the wide variety of people example here. So now you're asking, why go through all this? Why do I go through all this trouble to make up a person who is more general than usual? And there's 3 reasons that we've come up with. No need for a manual, hopefully. If a user is able to look at your software and immediately know what to do or how to use it, that's great. Honestly, ideal. Accommodating to different levels of experience, so you could show it to a first grader, they could figure out how to use it. That's something that this philosophy can do pretty well. And complexity doesn't always equal power. So I know, or you had some talking points on this, right? You had something?
Yeah, so if your product is for just general consumers, right, your everyday person, you don't want super complex software with a ton of different submenus and everything, you know. You want it to be simple and easy to use, and like we mentioned earlier, not that much reading, and just presenting visually to people. It's fine to do that, of course, in more enterprise software, like stuff like Azure or AWS. That's pretty complicated stuff, and you know, there's pages and pages of manuals and websites and videos for them. That's great. But when you're developing something like an app, you want it to be very simple and, you know, very less complex, and hopefully still powerful.
So that's all from us. We've finished pretty early. Thank you so much for coming. Or you want to?
Yeah, thank you for coming. I hope that you got something out of our presentation. And do you have the?
We are Fyra Labs. You can find us on Twitter at Team Fyra Labs and on the Fediverse at hq@fyralabs.com. I'd like to make a special thanks to Lanes, our CXO. This whole philosophy is their brainchild, and I'd really like to thank them for their assistance over the past couple weeks with this.
Yeah, Lanes is great. And also special thanks to my good friend Izzy for taking weird pictures of me all the time, and their horse that let me ride on her for a little bit.
And then,
yeah, we will now open the floor to questions and comments and just general discussions. Thank you.
So, anyone have any questions? We can pass the mic around if needed. Anyone want to just talk about their experience designing UI too would be great. Oh, you got a question? Yeah, what's up?
So, I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
I'm a system administrator for applications at my company. And
Yeah.
as I'm building the applications, how do I, as a non-designer, how do I incorporate design?
So are you building like a front end, something you can click on and stuff like that?
So I use my main application is Salesforce, which is a
Okay.
code platform.
Yeah, I'm Salesforce certified.
Okay. So how do I, as I'm working with users to build automation for them, or I'm sure working with flows and things like that, how do I incorporate, users and how they think about how they would use those kinds of applications?
So a great way to do that is to figure out what your users look like. So like what we did with the user profiles for Owen and Diana there. So figure out what they look like and what their level of knowledge is, and try to cater to as many of them as possible. And if somebody knows a little bit more, they'll be fine. If somebody knows a little bit less, you can help them along.
Yeah, I am also a systems administrator, so love that. The users that I work with, they, some of them are pretty tech savvy, and some of them only use a computer at work. So again, you really just want it as simple and easy to understand as you can, and just, especially like visitations with them and showing them just, here's what the flow is, here's how we use the products, and then kind of back end, like, you can do all the work, as a systems administrator, do as much complicated stuff as you can so that it's as easy as it can be for the end user, whether it be an internal employee or someone using your product. Does that answer your question?
Do you design for the person who is least capable of using the application? Do you always
Yes, that's a good question.
You design for the majority, not for the least.
So I would keep the least in mind. If someone doesn't know how computers work at all, I would keep them in mind just to, make sure that they are as well equipped as they are to use your product, but of course keep the majority in mind as well. And you can just meet with them one-on-one, if they don't know how anything works, and just kind of walk them through it, because they'll pretty much need help no matter what.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's say I sell stuff.
Mhm.
I want to sell stuff to anybody. And there's the end result, if I do a transaction with somebody, they're really excited and happy, yay. Or they get something and it's broken, they need to return it, or they're furious at me because it wasn't meeting their expectation. So like when you're developing things, do you sit back and think about the stuff, all the different scenarios that might be before you decide what person you're going to be serving? Is that kind of a backwards approach? Because in business, there are just things that are going to happen, regardless of what you do. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So when you talked about doing this wide thing and casting a big net, and it's more. I don't think it's that people aren't smart. It's maybe they're not too busy, or it's just not their wheelhouse, or whatever. You're just trying to meet them one-on-one about, hey, this is my service, XYZ, this is my service information. But moving forward and through your process, once you've gotten them to click, what's your development process with that? Do you start from the back of it, XYZ, these might happen, and then you move forward and then decide?
So yeah, usually we look at competition. And so if we're making a website for a client and, they produce chairs, like we look at other companies who produce chairs, and then we look at their UI UX on their website, and then we look at reviews and feedback. We do research on them, and then we pretty much have an understanding of the majority. And then we can, just develop something. Yeah, develop something based on their critiques of the other product. But yeah, there will always be people who get annoyed at you and frustrated at you and yell at you and are like, oh, this product sucks. I hate this product, So that is still hopefully a minority. So,
I guess I was just viewing it as either a customer service thing versus I'm trying to sell you something, which could be two very different things.
Yeah. I think this is more focused on software that end users are going to use than sales software, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate the question anyway. Yes.
I'm curious about if you could zoom in a little bit on the music app that you showed before.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And, particularly, if you could help walk us through, did the user profile stay the same throughout that iteration process, or
Yeah.
were the feedback loops that you were incorporating into each iteration kind of influencing your idea of what that primary user profile was, or what variety you might need to incorporate for the next iteration?
I'm pretty sure that we actually used Diana for this application.
Yeah, that sounds right. This was Lane's brainchild and everything, the music app. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that we did have the user profile.
We did.
And
I'm
then
pretty sure it was Diana.
Yeah, and then we had user testers testing the music app, and then
Myself and
yeah,
a couple other people.
we
at the
kind
company.
of got an idea of what people want in a music app, and then we looked at other music apps, and
Namely, Amberall
Made this.
was the major inspiration for this one, I think.
I'm not sure.
I think it was Amberall was the one that we compared to mostly. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and then I guess as a follow-up, how confident either were you in this process or in general in having that wide diversity of users that you really think is key from an age standpoint, obviously, or other demographics as well, or dimensions of difference?
Yeah, we're pretty confident.
And what did you base that confidence? I don't want to question the confidence.
No, yeah.
What gave you that confidence? Because I think that's a big deal to us as we're developing.
So yeah, most people that have used it before are, as we have said, wide diversity, a wide range of people, and they have said, oh, it's very simple and easy to use, and everything is laid out in just a simple manner.
But there is a thing to note. A lot of people were diverse in a lot of ways except the levels of experience. So a lot of the people
Yeah,
who did
that's
try this
true.
were developers. Just gonna point that out. Developers
Yeah.
or designers.
We are still working on getting more testers and pushing it out to as many people as possible before official release.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Any more questions from anyone? Did that answer yours?
Yes.
Wonderful. Any more questions?
I do. It's kind of unrelated, but since you guys are talking about differences and varieties of users, a variety in technology competency, I was just thinking about how there's a lot of people in my line of work. I work in healthcare. They don't really know technology that well. All they know is their cell phone, right? And they can't really use their cell phone really well. I'm also thinking of my colleagues too. I have a colleague who had a job offer rescinded because it turns out she doesn't really know how to use technology all that well. So I was thinking, do you guys know of any resources that can kind of help teach people how to use technology and stuff like that? Because for people like
Yes.
us, it's intuitive, but for others, it's not.
Yeah. So there are a lot that I know that specifically catered towards seniors.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Keystone Community Services, yeah, we do stuff with them. They have their cyber seniors program, and then they just work with seniors on teaching them computer skills and getting computers in as many people's hands as you can. And I know that there are other organizations catered towards younger people in general. There's also, one of the booths here today is Free Geek Twin Cities. They have computer programs for complete beginners of building computers and using those. And I know that they try to do as much as they can to get computers into as many households as they can and just, improve the computer literacy.
Also, the St. Paul Public Libraries and the Science Museum offer some office and regular computer literacy classes, so those might be of help. He also mentioned some great sources there.
Yeah, the libraries have just free computers for people to use, and
They do offer.
you don't
classes
even need
as
a
well.
library card. So
They do offer classes as well. Yeah.
yeah, they have classes and stuff, and I'm sure the librarians would be, helpful as well for that. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we really appreciate the questions. Anybody else have questions today? All right. Well,
All right.
that's all we.
Yeah,
That's all we
thank
have
you for
today.
coming to our talk.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys coming.